All right, turning now, Lori Vallow has a jury in her triple murder trial in Idaho. Opening statements are set to begin Monday morning. Vallow is the doomsday cult mother who's accused of murdering her two youngest children, believing they were possessed. Authorities say she and her husband, Chad Daybell, were leaders of a cult who thought the world would end in 2020. Joining me now is attorney and former homicide prosecutor Matt Murphy. Cases like this, a mother accused of killing her children, are difficult, aren't they?
They can be difficult. This is a case that the authorities in this really took their time. I was impressed with how methodical they seemed to be. They waited a long time before they actually announced murder charges. They really seemed to do this right. So they accumulated just a ton of evidence.
She's twice been declared unfit for trial, mentally incompetent. Now she's suddenly competent. Is that normal? And what happens if all of a sudden somebody thinks she's not competent any longer? Will the trial stop midway?
So essentially, when it comes to declaring competency, that's up to the defense lawyer oftentimes. So they can do what's called declaring a doubt. So it's kind of a unilateral thing. They evaluate her, they send her back in, and it's mostly strategic. So Idaho has some of the strictest laws in the country as far as insanity defenses, and that's going to be a really tough play. Another thing that happened here is the judge actually struck down the death penalty, which was an unusual procedural move, but it essentially eliminated a lot of mental health defenses that would normally be available in what's called the penalty phase.
Will it also make it easier for a jury to convict, do you think?
I believe so, yeah, 100%.
Okay,
yeah.
How hard is it in this case? Because she claims, I mean, the prosecutors were asking all these jurors, if somebody robs a bank, is the getaway car driver as guilty as the bank robber? Right. Clearly, I mean, you tell me, you're the former prosecutor. What were they aiming at there?
So what they're going with that in that area is they don't have to prove that she was actually hands-on in the murder of her children. And they don't have to prove that she was hands-on in the murder of Tammy Daybell
Chad Daybell's wife.
Right, who it's important to remember that she was, by all accounts, a very nice person. And so it's easy to get caught up in the horror of a woman murdering her kids. But she was a nice person, and Charles Vallow was also a really nice guy.
Lori Vallow's first husband. Well, no, her fourth husband, because Chad Daybell is her fifth.
Right, and she's been charged in the state of Arizona with that. So essentially what the prosecution was going for there is they might not be able to prove that she actually physically killed her kids. But that doesn't matter. You can go under a conspiracy theory or an aiding and abetting theory. And all she has to do in the state of Idaho is essentially facilitate, promote, or aid in any way in the murder of her kids, and she's legally culpable for that.
You've studied this case. You've reported on it quite a bit as a commentator, a legal commentator, and as a former homicide prosecutor. What do you think the defense is going to be?
Well, I think we're going to see a combination of a couple of different things, but I'm very curious to see who she's going to start pointing her fingers at. I think that she's probably going to blame her former or her dead brother, Alex Cox. I think she's going to try to throw some heat his way. I am curious to see how long it takes between her and Chad Daybell before they start pointing fingers at each other.
Right.
Yeah. I think we're going to see that.
Well, he's got a separate trial right after hers?
Right after hers, right. And he technically is still eligible for the death penalty, although I suspect that since the judge struck that down for her, he'll do the same thing for Chad Daybell. This is going to be a fascinating trial. I wish there was cameras in the courtroom. But look, this seems to be a very solid jury pool. Like I said, everything that I've been able to see so far, the prosecution really seems to know what they're doing. The detectives did a phenomenal job. The preliminary hearing testimony was compelling. I think we got a no-nonsense judge, and if I had to call the shot, I think that she's in a lot of trouble here.
Really?
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any conceivable defense, because even if she didn't actually physically kill her own children, she married Chad Daybell on the beach in Hawaii and for 4 months lied to the children's grandparents, her friends, to anyone and everyone who were saying, Lori, where are your children, to authorities once the grandparents finally called Child Protective Services and said, we need to do a welfare check. Where are these kids?
Not only that, and not only is there just an absolute absence of what appears to be any empathy or caring at all by a mom. In cases like this, the best evidence you always have is the behavior of the defendants themselves. Tammy Daybell died, and they were on a beach. Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell were on a beach singing and dancing and getting married 2 weeks later. And it's important to remember that she bought a green malachite ring using Charles Vallow's money after he was murdered, but before Tammy Daybell died, and she used that in the wedding. And in law enforcement, we call that a clue.
Well, that means she was planning to marry Chad Daybell long before his wife died.
Right, and they also had a series of text messages between the two of them, and there's one in particular from Chad Daybell to her saying Tammy has been essentially possessed by a level 3 demonic entity named Viola, and we need to hasten her departure. So, I mean, that's one of the great ironies of this whole thing. You got a guy who claims to be a prophet, who claims to talk to God, and apparently God forgot to tell him that his text messages would be admissible against him in trial. And they go back and forth on those things. And it is incredibly damning. But I'll tell you what, from an emotional standpoint, the jury's going to be instructed. They can't consider emotion. They're going to see this woman singing and dancing on a beach in Hawaii 2 weeks after this man's wife was murdered.
While the kids were missing.
While the kids, and we know at that point the kids were dead. I mean, it's a horrific case.
All right, Matt Murphy, we'll have you back a lot to talk about this case. Thanks so much for being here.
Looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.